Hello and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News Channel. This is the TA, FA, and MA in chart analysis for March 3rd, 2022. Now, I did get it right yesterday that we were going to go slightly downward today. We lost about 2,000 points today, but that's not that surprising because I do think people overbought. While the Russians and the Ukrainians were actually buying, I do think a lot of foreign investors like Americans and Europeans also bought the FOMO. But now they're going to take some profits. However, I don't think the sell-off is, we're going to sell back off towards where we were at the $35,000, $36,000 level, because a lot of that I think was true buying by Russians, Belarusians, and Ukrainians. So the people that were actually speculating from the US and Europe are going to sell for profits, but the people that bought from Russia, Belarus, and Ukraine are not really going to sell. They're definitely going to hold on for a little longer term, at least as this conflict is actually going on, because there are sanctions against Russia and Belarus, and Ukraine's being bombed, so they actually need, some people need some way to port money out of Ukraine, so I don't think they're going to be selling Bitcoin anytime soon. But the speculators that jumped in from the US or Europe, probably going to sell off a bit. I think the support is actually at $40,000, at least in my opinion. I think that will actually hold. The $42,000 support was actually broken once. I saw it go down to 41,700, but now it's above 42,000. But I don't think that's a very dependable bottom line. I think 40,000 is much safer as a bottom line right now. Still wouldn't short right now because there could be another spree of buying. I kind of see the bottom line around 40,000 unless Putin decides to go nuclear. I do see like the bottom line being at like $40,000. And then like upwards, I know some people are looking for 50,000, but I see it kind of hard to do that because I think the war is going to introduce a lot of uncertainty and people aren't going to want to invest in risk assets nearly as much during this time. Eventually it'll go above 50,000, but it might actually take a while. If you look at the technical analysis, obviously today is going to be down. That's not any surprise at all. And we actually came down maybe at like 12 hours ago or so. But if you actually look at like, the 5 days thing, even on the 5 days, even with being up so much, we are still up. So definitely on the weekly time frame, we're still up. On the monthly time frame, we're slightly down now because, we were pretty high towards the beginning, towards the end of beginning of February. And the war dipped us down. We have like gotten back up, but you can see we're about 2,000 or 3,000 under our high point for the month. So I think on the monthly, we're slightly trending downward, and that's to be expected with a major conflict right now. So nothing surprising right there. On the technical analysis side, things still are holding on the buy on the daily. The oscillators are still neutral. I think the stochastic is slightly oversold, but the commodity channel index is now neutral. So I think like the selling actually has kind of evened out. I am very neutral going into the weekend now. I'm not bullish or bearish going into the weekend. I think the sudden buy from like Americans and Europeans FOMOing along with the Russians and Belarusians has been counterbalanced by some of the sell to gain profits. So I expect the price not to fall below 40,000 this weekend, but I also expect the price not to really rise above 45, 46,000. We're in that 10% range. There's still some money to be made there if you're actually trading. But not like giant swings, in my opinion. Unless Putin goes nuclear, then, all bets are off. The EMA and the SMAs for the 10, 20, 30, and 50 are still very, very much buys. But I don't really agree with that right now. I'm like pretty much neutral on all this stuff right now. The 50 is still way below the 200. Like if the 50 ever goes above the 200, then I could say that's a surefire buy signal for the longer term, but it's still below. Right now, it's just because we've grown so much over the last couple of days that like the 10, 20, 30, 50 EMAs are all going to be above on the buy level. So if the 100 EMA ever goes to switch to a buy, then you might have an argument. Or like the 200 EMA switches to buy, then you actually have an argument. But right now, like I'm still very, very much neutral unless there's some kind of unless there's this conflict somehow solves. By the way, in mid-March, the Fed is going to raise interest rates. It's going to be 25 basis points. I do believe that's priced in. It might cause a slight dump, but it should not dump all that much in mid-March. On the weekly, we're still buy on the 10 and then like sell on the 20, 30, 50. Like I said, I kind of expect it to hold over the weekend. There'll be still like small dips and rises that you can make money on. But overall, I definitely just expect it to hold over the weekend. The oscillators do not really give me anything on the weekly either. They're all neutral. And unless they have some quick solution for this conflict, I really don't see us moving this weekend because there's no major triggers. It's not like, oh, he just attacked. We know he's attacking. And it's not like, oh, they're going to buy in now because they already bought in last week. There could be some continuing buy-ins, especially from the oligarchs, but I don't know how much that can actually move the crypto prices. At the 1 month, we're still down on the exponential and the simple on the 10. The oscillators are still all neutral. And once like the exponential 10 and the exponential and a simple 10 shifts here, and it stays above for like a couple of days, then we can probably call it more of a bullish market. But right now that really hasn't happened any. So on the 1 year, we are still down year over year. And that's probably not going to change for quite a while because there's just like during this war, there's really just no event that would actually trigger it the other way. Because like I said, you already had all the Russians, Belarusians, Ukrainians that were under sanctions by Bitcoin. And once that actually happens, I don't really think there's another trigger in this war. I mean, the Fed could refuse to raise interest rates but I don't think that's likely. And I think the Fed will raise interest rates 25 basis points. So I don't really see any real basis for a sudden bump again. But then again, I don't see a real basis for a sudden dump. So I'm pretty much neutral going to Friday and the weekend. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe and hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.